Hello and welcome to another episode of Battle Ready. Ready, where today we thought we'd take a look at, or talk about anyway,
Voice wordings.
voice wordings.
Yes.
Something interesting. So it seems like quite often, Games Workshop's coming out with more stuff. More models, new models, all that thing.
More toys.
More toys.
Toys for the toy throne.
And they models anyway basically break down into two categories. Either they're brand new stuff that looks cool and we can't wait to play.
Doom Diver Catapult.
Doom Diver, well, maybe. Or they are refreshes of old models that looked ugly.
All of the Skaven. Yeah.
And now they're new models that look awesome. Yeah, so you're right. I would put Clan Rats there, right? The old Clan Rats I thought I always liked the Skaven, but I thought their models were such trash, I never wanted to start it. So the Clan Rats now, way better. But sticking with the Skaven, you also have Vizek Scour.
And the Doom Wheels.
No, they were Doom Wheels before.
Really?
Yeah. But you have models that are new, that are brand new, right? Or what's not the Hell Pit Abomination, what's the new Abomination thing called?
Brood. Something?
Yeah, Brood Horror, maybe?
Brood Terror?
Something like that.
Something with broods and something scary.
So you have that kind of stuff. And so I got to thinking, well, what do we like more? What is better? What do we like more? What is better for the game? Would we rather see more new models, or would we rather see fewer new models but refreshes of existing stuff? Drake, what are your thoughts?
Refreshes.
Really? You want refreshes more than the new stuff?
Yes.
You want refreshes more than Agrodon Lancers?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Why did you say that?
Agrodon Lancers, to my eyes at least, are just renamed, refreshed cold ones.
They are. They do sort of take the same posture as cold ones. That's true.
And I say refreshes because if you look at some armies, Fire Slayers,
I don't know that Fire Slayers are going to get a refresh, but keep going.
They need a refresh more than they need new models because even if you get like 4 new models, you've still got 7 old units. And those 7 old units still look terrible. But if you get those 7 old units refreshed, you have 7 new pretty units.
All right. Now, we don't play Fire Slayers, but let's say Gits. They just came out with Gits, so we're not expecting any more Gits stuff for a little while. But when they come out with more Git stuff, do you want them to have new stuff, like maybe they introduce, what are the flying Gits called?
The...
Grotbag Scuttlers.
Yes, and they're Clinka-squigs.
Right. So would you rather see, just like they introduced a whole wave of Git mob stuff, would you like to see them release a wave of Grotbag stuff? Or would you like to see them refresh Stabbas and Shootas and Loon Smashes, so they look better?
I think Loon Smashes look fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying, those are your two options. They either refresh all the old Moon Clan stuff, or we get Grotbag Scuttlers. What do you think?
I feel like I want good Stabbas and Shooters because they look so bad and my hands still hurt whenever I play them.
Yeah, well, they might still be sharp. But that's interesting. So I think I agree.
I immediately went, the Grotbags are so cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think GW's been doing a good job of balancing it, right? Like even with the Skaven refresh, we get stuff that's sort of a spiritual successor, like Agrodons. Mm-hmm. We got refreshes like
Rats.
No, I'm talking about the Seraphon stuff. Like
Seraphon.
What are the Kroxigor and Saurus Warriors. And then we also got new stuff like the Skink Starseer, the skink on the little skink chair.
Skink on chair.
Yeah. So I think that's good. I think that's good to see those refreshes alongside new units. We're also seeing something very similar with Soulblight that is coming out soon, where Graveguard are getting replaced by Barrowguard, which are a spiritual successor.
Mm-hmm. They just renamed better looking Graveguard.
Yeah, so sort of like Agrodons to Cold Ones, right? But they're also introducing a new unit, which is this. I guess it's not new. It's also a refresh of the Barrow Knights, because there were
White Knights, no,
Dark Rider. No, not Dark. I forget what they were, but there was a skeleton knight thing before.
Skeleton on skeleton horse.
Right, and they're doing a new zombie dragon, right?
No, Zombie Dracoth.
Yes, it's a Draconith, undead
Terror-beast.
Draconith, something like that.
Something scary with death and dragons.
Yeah, we're not good with the names, it turns out. So I think they've been doing a good job. But honestly, I do like the idea of refreshes for the most part. And that's because there's a lot of, not as many as there used to be, but there are still quite a few models out there that could use a refresh, right? You look at much of the Ogre line, especially the Gutbuster side, but even like the Yetis and stuff are
Oh,
ridiculous. You look at even some stuff from, it's a lot of cities stuff probably needs refreshes.
Well, they've been doing that.
Yeah. So it started,
Spiritual
right?
successors have been added a lot.
And so I think getting the whole range, or a lot of the range anyway, up to sort of standard, I think is really good. That's what I want to see. And now new stuff is also good, right? And at some point they're going to say, hey, you know what? We're bringing in this new unit, and then over time, old kits are going to get retired. Maybe at the end of an edition, just like they did with all the Sacrosanct models, right?
And Bone Splitters.
And some other stuff, right? But Sacrosanct in particular, where they're like, well, the army's not going anywhere. You still can play your Stormcast,
Basically,
but-
chop up some onions.
but we've got too many models.
Yep.
We can't support all these models, so something's got to go, and so they get rid of Sacrosanct.
I would have said get rid of the first edition Paladins more than the Circus Saint.
They did. They got rid of those too.
Oh, well.
So Stormcast had a major culling. They got rid of a lot. But I think that's good because I do think that getting more models and more different units and unit types does mean you're going to be in for a culling, right? The stuff can only get so bloated before, yeah, you got to chop it down. So I feel like the new units is an omen. It's an omen. It means something's coming. Now, Gits is interesting because we just got this whole new sub-faction.
What's gonna die?
Something's gotta. I mean, you've got
Spider
Moon
Fang.
Clan and quite a bit of it. Spider Fang, in a good amount.
Which all look terrible.
Squigs and quite a bit of it. Trolls and quite a bit of
There's
it.
no way they're killing trolls.
And now
Gitmob.
Gitmob, and not too little of it. So maybe this means that spiders are on their way out, right? So maybe the next edition they'll cull the spiders. But I do think that's sort of what it means. I think that refreshes mean you can keep stuff.
Or maybe spiders will get shuffled over to Old World or another faction.
Oh yeah. Or they'll go to Legends, right? So they'll still be playable in home games and everything, but they will cease being supported. And so I think that anytime you see a large influx of new models, maybe not anytime, because some factions are so small, like Caradron or Fireslayers or Ideneth, they could probably stand to have a few more models and be fine. But when you start seeing large amounts of new models come in, you know, gosh,
What's happening?
they can't support it forever, so something's gonna go. Whereas in a refresh, I feel like if the models are super cool and you've got the budget, you can get them, right, and upgrade. And if you don't, you can, like, we're gonna get the Soulblight box because I think it's so cool. But here's an example: the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, right? We could, and probably will, still use that as a zombie Draconith, right? So we might use that model, even though this new zombie Draconith model is super cool. It's going to be expensive, so it's going to have to go into a budget. We're going to have to figure that out. But until then, I can still play, right? I get a new War Scroll, and the base might be a little bit different, so we'll have to adjust. But I can still.
They just like cut the base down to smaller size.
It's bigger, I think.
No! How is it bigger?
So we can still use our models, right? So when they come out with a refresh, we're not missing out on anything. And so that's another reason why I prefer refreshes. That's not to say only refreshes, right? I think we absolutely need new models because that's how people are going to get excited. That's what's going to keep the game vibrant and living and progressing. So new models are necessary. But I think some people get so excited for the new stuff and not so excited for the refreshes, and I really feel like that's backwards.
Yeah.
I also think it's better for the game because
Then you don't have stupid fantasy models running around.
not only does it make the stuff look better, but I also feel like it's better for the game because, GW is a real company, and they have, or they seem to have, a real hard time keeping stuff in stock sometimes.
My pigs!
Like just a really hard time keeping stuff in stock.
My pigs!
And so if they can't keep their offerings in stock now, then it seems like, do we really want them putting more products out there that are also going to be out of stock?
No,
right?
because that's going to make my pigs even harder to get.
Or they put more models out there and now they can't keep in stock the old stuff. So I feel like, gosh, the new units bring a lot of problems. Now, again, you got to have some, right? There has to be some new units. You can't have only refreshes because then the game does start to stagnate, right? But I do think that on the whole, I really enjoy having refreshed units because it gives me a little time and because it means less worry about things leaving and less worry about, theoretically, less worry about stock issues. You never know with the Games Workshop, right? They might have they could cut half their line and still have stock issues. But that's sort of where I land.
Axe all of 40K and stock issues.
Oh, probably they would if they axed all of 40K, they would just go under.
Yep.
40K is keeping that company afloat. Other products might be profitable, but 40K is and not even just 40K. Space Marines are keeping that company afloat.
They could axe everything else and just have Space Marines fighting Space Marines and still be fine.
Well, that's one of the interesting things, as I was thinking about it the other day, is if they wanted to just sell the most profitable stuff, they could really just chop down a lot of other lines and do a Space Marines, right? Right? They get rid of Dark Eldar and make those 4 players real upset, and then just dedicate more time to Space Marines and probably make more money, right? But I think that there's something to having a vibrant ecosystem. You spend time and resources creating these guys over here on Dark Eldar or Fire Slayers or
Dark
something.
Eldars, I just read a book on them. So cool.
Are they cool?
They're so
All right, you can be player number 5. Yeah. But you spend time on the sort of less popular armies that aren't real money makers because it creates a vibrant area, a vibrant game system that attracts players to the game who are then probably going to play Space Marines. That's what they do, Space Marines.
Every 40K player has at least one Marine.
Oh yeah, they come in everything. They come in all kinds of boxes.
Well, there's one part of a Marine.
Everything
has at least a part.
Relatively easy to paint. I should say comparatively easy to paint to a lot of other stuff.
Gold,
right?
red.
The fact that their armor is, what is it, ceramite? What is the name of their armor?
Ceramite made
And
power armor.
in the lore, ceramite is super strong armor, but it's also non-metallic. So that means you don't have to worry about painting metals or non-metallic metal or whatever. You can just paint solid blue, throw a wash on there, maybe do some highlights, and you're good to go, right? So anyway, I don't know how we got into 40K stuff. We're gonna set that aside.
All paths lead to 40K.
Sometimes it feels that way. But let us know in the comments below how you feel about refreshes versus new models. Which side of the divide are you on? Which do you personally prefer, and which do you feel like is better for the game system? Because I could see somebody saying, well, I like the new stuff, but I recognize that refreshes are overall, in general, better for the game. I think that's completely valid too. But if we're off base, and it should be all new models all the time.
We've jumped off our 40mm.
Yeah, 40mm. Or let us know in the comment below.
We're off base.
I see. And anything else you want to say?
I think we got it.
All right, well, this has been another episode of Battle Ready. Thanks so much for watching.